day that is a day of difference. And so this service this morning is dedicated to the well-being and the health of John Henry, who had to visit the hospital this morning because he wasn't feeling so well. And lo and behold, we were able to continue in the way we always continue with all that we have available to us, thanks to Jennifer being able to accompany the music. And Bruce and Oliver being all that they can be. And so we're knowing the highest and the best good for John Henry. And all is well. So today we are looking at this thing called success. It's something that we all think of from time to time, either about ourselves or about other people or about things. Success. It is that which is on our minds, as I say, from time to time. But we have to understand what we mean by that and what success actually is. Now, according to the outer world, I see people fanning themselves. I think that means that we need to have some air that maybe needs to go up a bit or down a bit or whatever way it goes. Because it's not fun when you're fanning yourself. So, the coolness of spirit is upon us. So that means we take our mind off our problem and we put our mind on something else. And that is that we already know that the thermostat has been fixed. And so, success, yeah. Well, most of us think about it in terms of worldly success, and that's the fact of it. That's the fact of it. And worldly success adds up to most of us, alas, as, stuff and things. What kind of stuff? Well, cars and houses and boats and planes and stuff of that nature. Things, what kind of things? Well, we think about, the families we're born into, the educations that we receive, the careers we take upon ourselves, the country clubs we belong to, and the fame and all the rest of it, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. So that's the kind of success that most people judge people by, themselves and others. But yet, how do we look at success metaphysically speaking? It's a very, very different thing, which may include all or some of the above, but sees all of that as very minor in comparison to spiritual success. And of course, spiritual success is based on character. It's an atmosphere, it's an attitude. It's a mental and an emotional state of being, spiritual success. And it is built on character. And character is built on our ability to embrace, persistence and patience and a continuity and stick-to-itiveness and seeing things through. And it's based on resolution, determination, action, and all bound up in the bouquet of consciousness, imagination, visioning. Consciousness, imagination, and visioning is where we play in the field of spiritual success. And so today is about how are we doing in this arena. It's okay to render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, but don't forget to render to God the things that are God's. So we're talking about equal opportunity here. Equal time spent on the concept of spiritual success. And not even equal, because even if it was a third of our time, or even a quarter of our time given to the contemplation of spiritual success, we be amazed and astounded at our ability to be healthy and happy and centered and well. We'd be amazed, absolutely stunningly amazed. So that's the challenge for you and for me this week, to take a look at that. Where am I, spiritually speaking, as far as success is concerned? Because success is nothing more than being okay with life and living, feeling good in life and living, and not being scared out of our wits and frightened and afraid most of the time. But having that poise that comes from understanding the genius, the moreness and the greatness that is within us, that we are. But when people are thinking about struggling and efforting towards success, they're not thinking about the genius and the moreness and the greatness that already is established within them. They're thinking about how they can get what they want from out there in the world, and what is it I have to do, and who do I have to play with in order for that to happen. Who do I have to play with out there in order for that to happen? But see, if I was playing with what was within me all the time, I wouldn't have to be bothered about anything out there. It would all take care of itself. Why? Because that which is within me is greater than that which is in the world. So I'm pulling myself back now from the exterior stuff. As Emerson says, actually it's Troward who says this. He says, to the extent that you can extrapolate yourself from the exterior world, the world of the relative, to that extent can you enter into the world or the realm of the absolute. And it is the world of the absolute wherein we accomplish what we're here to accomplish. One thing, self-actualization or God realization, whatever you want to call it. And that is bringing the balance into your life between that which is human and secular and that which is spiritual and divine, making that come together in a marriage that unifies everything in our lives and in a way that causes us to be able to be in poise every day of our life, no matter what the situation circumstances are. Now, Neville, one of our most prominent New Thought metaphysicians, way back in the 50s and so, suggests to us that how we bring this about, this poise and this centeredness and this success spiritually, is through one thing and one thing alone, which is not unknown to us at all. And that is just changing our minds about things, exchanging one type of consciousness for another type of consciousness. And he says that the quickest way to success is to change your mind about something. He says this is the way of least action or least resistance. This is the way of using the minimum amount of energy and time. Just changing your mind about one thing and putting your mind on another. Exchanging one type of consciousness for another type of consciousness. You have heard this many times before. But you and I are going to hear this thing until we get this thing, until we assimilate this thing, until we start to think from it and feel from it and do from it and be in it. Because that's what it's going to take. Repetition, 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 repetition. Somebody could do some kind of song or music to that. Rap would be good. Rapping would be good. I'm working on it. One of these days I'll be coming out here and I'll be rapping. And it'll be chew, chicka, 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 chew, chicka, 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 chew. I promise you, I'm working on it. So, how do we go about this succeeding at this level of deep, deep inner structure? And to build a structure, a character that is indeed resolute, that is indeed solid, that is indeed disciplined, and I'm saying the word and I don't care whether we like it or not, disciplined. It's got to become our friend, our best friend, disciplined, the ordered mind. The disciplined mind is the one that's going to do it for us. The persistent mind, the patient mind, yes. The mind that knows how to vision and imagine, and based upon that, feel. Move into passion, which is power, which is the fuel that gets things done. That's what Neville meant by least action. The action of the mind is very light. It's very quick. It's very easy. Imagine Being able to give up all the outer exterior efforting and struggling and doing and racing and ranting and chasing and coaxing and cajoling and alliancing. None of that is necessary. None of it. If you would only believe, if I would only believe, all things are possible. And if I can believe it, if I can conceive it, if I can vision it, if I can embrace it, I can achieve it, I am told. I am told by whom? By people who have done it and are doing it. This is not pie in the sky. This is science, and it's precise science. And it has been tried and tested and proven to be true. So why aren't we all doing that at that level? All right, how do we go about this? According to metaphysics and spiritual science, we get an impulse. Number one, we get an impulse. Something comes to us. Something lights up in our minds. Something moves our hearts and says, you can do this. You can achieve this. You can accomplish this. This is a very good idea. And it's yours to birth and bring to fruition. It's the first step. Second step is, I get clear about it. I get very clear. I sit with it. I give it time. I incubate it. I nurture it. I nourish it. I go to the dark room of my mind. I set the whole thing up in the dark room of my mind. That is my spiritual laboratory, the dark room of my mind. And I put all those pieces together and I see it. This thing that has come to me, that's telling me this is for me to do and accomplish and achieve and succeed with. And I see it and I see it. And if anybody has seen the movie, The Purple Rose of Cairo, one part of it, a guy in the audience jumps right into the screen and becomes part of the movie itself. See? And that's what you have to do when you're visioning. You have to jump into that wonderful dark room of your mind and become part of all that you have visioned, not as two-dimensional, but as three-dimensional and fourth-dimensional. You're in that, you're being that, you are that. It's finished, it's done, it's accomplished. You're tasting it, you're smelling it, you're feeling it, you're touching it, you are it, and not only are you it as a part in it, but you're every part of it. That's the fourth dimensional aspect. It's already done. Now, how is it we can do that? Because we're reminded again that we're living in a finished creation, in a finished universe, in a finished life. It's all finished. But most of what you and I have yet to experience is on the invisible side of life. And the way we experience it is to flesh it out into our world through what? Through consciousness, through thought, through vision, through imagination, through picturing and perceiving. How do I do this with the least action, the least resistance, the minimum of effort, and the minimum of time? How do I do it? I assume the passion and the power and the feeling that's fueling this thing that I am supposed to experience. I assume that feeling of the thing already done. How do I know that I have assumed the feeling of the thing already done? I'm spelling it out this week for you. Have you noticed that? I'm giving you tidbits, bites, just little bites. I know it once I begin to think like it is so, feel like it is so, act like it is so, behave like it is already so. That's how I know I have assumed the feeling of the desired good already fulfilled, because I'm living it now. I'm not waiting for something to happen. It has happened already, and I am just saying yes to the process that is going to manifest it when it is the ripeness of time for that to happen. I bless it and I leave it alone to come home to me wagging its tail behind it. That's what I do. I don't have to give it any more thought except to smile every time I think that it is already so and go yippee and hallelujah. Or as Medea would say, hallelujah. She says it with much more gusto. Why can I do that? Why can I do that? Why can I get myself into that state of open receptivity and saying, it is done, it is accomplished, and so it is? Because I know how the law of mind and action works. Think it, think it, think it, feel it, feel it, feel it, and it is so. Think it, think it, think it, know it, know it, know it, feel it, feel it, feel it, and it is so. Now, I have spelt out the process. Now, where does character, discipline, and patience and persistence come into this process? Well, you know and I know that we are all subject to mood changes, mood swings. Mood changes, constantly on the move through me. That's when you and I decide, I don't care what I'm feeling today. I don't care whether I believe this stuff or not, whether I have any faith in this stuff or not, whether I think it, whether I feel it, whether I believe it. I don't care. All I know is I'm sticking to what I knew whenever it was I made this decision and had the power and the passion around it. I'm sticking with it. I'm going with it. I'm supporting it. I'm saying yes to it. I know it is so. I know it is so. I am the little engine who knows I can. So I'll think I can, I'll think I can, I'll feel I can, I'll feel I can. I'll act as though I can, I'll act as though I can. And when I'm coming down that hill, I'm going whoop-de-doo, yabba-dabba-doozy, I knew I could, I knew I could, I knew I could. Not because me of myself, but because of the intelligence, the genius, the power within me that I came into cooperation with and said yes to. Why not me? Now, we have to change consciousness, as Neville says. Change your consciousness for another consciousness. Change your thinking for another thought. What might that be? Instead of going around all the time saying, oh, why me, God? Why not me, God? There's a whole big difference in that. I got that way back when I was in the novitiate. I remember one of my novice mistresses saying to me, well, why not you, Sister Miriam? Because we are so humble when we're in the beginning stages of spirituality. We want to do everything we can to humble ourselves and to bleed profusely in pain and suffering so that we can earn our spiritual bars, stripes, whatever. Knock it off. Cut it out. It's serving nobody, least of all you. Least of all you. You know, it's never written in any holy books, suffering is mine, saith the law. I've never come across that anywhere. Pain is mine, saith the law. I've never come across that anywhere. Going without is mine, saith the law. I've never come across it. So why do we make it our war cry, so to speak? The sorrows of the world have come upon me. When I was a child growing up 200 years ago in Ireland, every mother would say the same thing. Sure, offer it up and suffer in silence because your reward in heaven will be so wonderful. Never made sense to me. I thought, if that's all I have to look forward to, really. And nobody spoke about a feeling. Oh my gosh, nobody spoke about a feeling. Why? Because they were all offering it up and suffering in silence so that their reward in heaven, if ever they got there, would be wonderful. And yet most of them were dying of fear because they were all afraid they were going straight to hell when they closed their eyes anyway. Because there was no way around this thing called sin. And God forbid if you died when you didn't have confession and the holy grace of God of forgiveness on your soul. You didn't have much to look forward to. Purgatory at best. Now that was, well, anyway, that's another time and another place. But if there's any shred of any of that left or residue in any one of us in this room, we need to release that and let that go back into the absolute nothingness from whence it came. It is a nonsense. And the only divine design God, creator, infinite intelligence has in store for you and for me is that we should have life and have it in abundance, that our joy may be complete, and that we may understand and experience a peace that passes understanding. That's the only will of a divine, of a deity for you and for me. Anything else is human construct, and it's us coming into agreement with a nonsense. With a nonsense. So ask ourselves this week, says the Lord, which is law, how successful are you? Where are you with this thing called success? What is going on in the realm of success in your life? And is success still something that you are attributing to whatever is happening in the outer world out there? Or have you got a clue yet about success initiating always from within the inner realm here? And if not, now would be the time to start thinking about that and contemplating that and moving in that energy and saying, yes, I want to live in a manner that exacts the least action, the least resistance, in a manner that brings me to the success that I'm attributing anyway to the power within me that is greater than the power in the world, with, the least amount of time, effort, and energy expended. So that all that energy that is left is so that I can show up every day in peace and poise, with grace and ease, in fullness and plenty, in health and well-being, in loving relationships with all, magnificently, creatively expressing by showing up in sacred service to all of life, however it crosses my path in any given day. That's the divine design for you and for me. Poise, strength, sovereignty, and a humbleness and a peace that flows out of that like you couldn't imagine. And a peace of mind. And a sense and sensibility that is always of goodwill. Always of goodwill for all. Always. Always on the bright side of life. Always affirming life. Always upholding life. Always contributing to life. Always making a difference in life. And that's who you are. That's what you are. You are the power. You are the glory. You're the highest pinnacle of all of creation. Now, it's given to you and to me to draw upon it and to be what we are created to be. And the choice is yours and the choice is mine. And everything conspires in all of creation to back us up when we make that choice. So are we on for it? Yes. So it is.